Ah, I just want to die. That had been my old self. But not anymore. I caught sight of myself in the mirror, a round face dotted with freckles, curly carrot-colored hair, and dark, murky teal eyes staring back at me. What kind of exhausting life was this again? I let out a sigh and tried to gather my thoughts. Let's go over this carefully. Had I just been reincarnated into that overly cliché romance fantasy novel I read before I died? The story had been simple enough. Arya, a girl who only had her beauty to her name, suddenly discovers she's a saint. Recognized for her powers, she travels to the capital, meeting countless people and helping those in need. Along her journey, she meets the male lead, Sylvester, the imperial crown prince. At the time, Sylvester's life hung by a thread. Even as crown prince, he was constantly battling political enemies, hiding a terrible curse just to survive. But everything started to change once he met Arya. Thanks to her, his curse weakened, and slowly but surely, Sylvester began to overcome the hardships pressing him down. Up to that point, it was just another typical romance story. Or almost. There was one twist. The second male lead, Benjamin Felton, the Duke of the North. While the main lead had the usual black hair, Benjamin was different. Warm brown hair and green eyes, a soft appearance that didn't quite fit a rugged northern duke. And strangest of all, Benjamin was married. Why would the author create a married second male lead? Were they aiming for some dramatic, forbidden affair? Sure, Benjamin's marriage was political, but still, it had felt oddly placed. Not that it mattered anymore. Because somehow, I had ended up in this body. And day by day, I was becoming less like me and more like Grace. Madam, should I bring out your favorite dish? One of the maids chirped. I've also brought plenty of your favorite tea leaves. Oh, and the new tea set has arrived. It's a limited edition. It's fine, I mumbled. Really, it's fine? Ever since I locked myself away in my room, they had been fretting over me nonstop. Their kindness made me feel guilty. They walked on eggshells around me, worried I might shatter any moment. Living in this grand mansion, surrounded by doting maids, where had the true owner of this body gone? Maybe I should go for a walk. That's a great idea, a maid said brightly. I'll prepare your favorite outfit right away. Wearing it will definitely lift your mood. Well. I hesitated. No, wait. A bath first, she said, already bustling about. The old me had been bedridden until the very end. Even now, just being able to stand on my own 2 feet felt like a miracle. Shall I take the mirror away, madam? Someone asked gently. No, it's fine. I caught another glimpse of myself, fat, plain. But honestly, not even that ugly. It wasn't my voice calling Grace ugly. It was the remnants of the original Grace's deep self-loathing, still lingering inside this body, whispering cruel thoughts. Madam, shall I assist you with your bath? Another maid offered. All right. Please call when you're ready, I said. Honestly, having someone help me bathe was so awkward. Luckily, Grace had felt the same, embarrassed to show her body, uncomfortable with being vulnerable. The warm water soothed my nerves. Maybe today would be all right. You look amazing, madam, the maids beamed as they dressed me. It's your first walk in a long time. It has to be perfect. Honestly, all the clothes kind of looked the same to me. But they had picked it out with such care. It would be rude to complain. It was fine. I could go outside. The madam? She's really... Whispers echoed behind me as I stepped out. Grace rarely went outside. Even before I arrived in this body, she had been a recluse. Naturally, everyone was surprised. Don't shrink back, I told myself. The garden glittered under the sunlight. Up close, it was even more beautiful than I expected. The master has excellent taste, doesn't he? One of the maids said proudly. His Grace made sure the garden would be perfectly visible from your room, madam. All this beauty, just for me? I thought bitterly. Impossible. I knew the truth of this body's situation all too well. Suddenly, I heard the soft tread of someone else's footsteps. A man with warm brown hair and green eyes approached. Madam, he said, voice gentle. What brings you all the way out here? Standing before me was Benjamin Felton, the man from the novel, the second male lead with a tragic backstory. Should I not have come? He asked. That's not what I meant, I replied quickly. I was worried, he said. Worried? Yeah, right. There he stood, my husband in this world. The husband of Grace Sinden. The character who is barely mentioned, whose death was skimmed over in just a few lines. The woman I now was. Benjamin Felton. The Northern Duke with a sweet appearance that didn't quite match his title. Standing right there in front of me. I was worried, he repeated, his green eyes full of gentle concern. Of course he was. Because in this world, I was his wife. Grace Sinden. The forgotten side character barely mentioned in the original novel. I forced a small smile. You didn't need to worry. I'm fine now. Benjamin studied me for a moment, as if searching for something behind my words. Then he offered his arm to me. Shall we take a short walk together? The old Grace would have shrunk back in fear, perhaps even refused. But I wasn't Grace. Not really. And besides, if this was my life now, I had to at least try. I hesitated briefly before slipping my hand onto his arm. His warmth bled through the fabric of his sleeve, startling me a little. When was the last time someone had touched me like this? The garden path was lined with vibrant flowers swaying gently in the breeze. We walked in silence for a while, but it wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. Benjamin glanced sideways at me. You seem different today. My heart skipped. Different? Did he notice that I wasn't really the Grace he once knew? I searched for the right words. I thought it would be a shame not to see the garden after all the effort you put into it. For a moment, Benjamin's eyes widened in surprise. Then he smiled, a small, genuine smile that softened his whole face. I'm glad, he said simply. We reached a small gazebo nestled in the heart of the garden. Benjamin guided me to a bench, careful and gentle, as if I might break. Sitting there, under the dappled sunlight, I realized something. This life, Grace's life, might not be entirely miserable. Maybe, just maybe, there was a place for me here after all. Benjamin sat beside me, close but not too close. Respectful. Careful. I hope, he said after a moment, you'll feel comfortable enough to come outside more often. I nodded, still unsure what to say. The wind carried the scent of blooming flowers around us, and for the first time since waking up in this body, I didn't feel trapped. I felt free, even if just a little, even if it was borrowed freedom. I glanced at Benjamin, this man who was supposed to be a background character to someone else's love story. But right now, he wasn't part of someone else's tale. He was here in mine. And maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something entirely new. Do you know where His Excellency is going? The question slipped from my lips before I could stop myself. The maid flinched, clearly startled. She tried to avoid my gaze, nervously fidgeting. So you do know, I said quietly. Then why won't you answer me? Her hands trembled. That's... She stammered. Are you here to monitor me instead of serving me? I asked, my voice sharper than intended. And no, my lady, she cried. That's not the case. Then answer my question, I said, steadying my voice. Where is His Excellency going? To the Rondel Canal, she finally whispered. The Rondel Canal. A place that wasn't mentioned often in the novel, but today was different. Is Saint Aria there, by any chance? I asked. The maid hesitated before nodding slowly. I heard the temple went to the Rondel Canal today. There's supposed to be a grand purification ceremony and service. Of course. Where Arya went, Benjamin would follow. I touched my face absent-mindedly. This face. How could someone like Benjamin possibly love a wife like me? Arya was beautiful, blessed by the heavens. Grace, or rather, I was nothing but an awkward mess of curly hair, gaudy dresses, and a face that didn't shine. I muttered under my breath, it's like a pearl necklace on a pig's neck. My maid blinked. You're really wearing a pearl necklace, my lady, she said cautiously. It suits you perfectly. I almost laughed. Exactly. It's like that. My lady? Are you all right? she asked, concerned. I shook my head. It's nothing, I said quickly. But inside, my heart churned. The memories of the novel lingered heavily in my mind. Bright snow-white hair, golden eyes, flawless skin. The author had spared no words praising Arya's beauty. Compared to her, No. I couldn't let myself be swallowed by these thoughts again. Benjamin being drawn to Arya was inevitable. It was a truth as clear as the sky. Maybe, I whispered to myself. Maybe I should try. Try? The maid asked hesitantly. Exercise, I said firmly. The word felt foreign on my tongue, but it was a start. I knew the truth. No amount of weight loss would turn me into Arya. And yet, this body, Grace's body, was the first one I had that could move freely. I wasn't going to waste that. When we walked through the garden earlier, I realized just how weak I was. I couldn't even run. But at least this body could walk. Unlike my previous life, unlike before. If I was going to live here, even temporarily, I needed to be strong. A healthy body, a healthy mind. I would build up my stamina. I would lose weight. And most importantly, I would divorce Benjamin. Yes. I would break free from this story and live alone. If I stepped aside, I wouldn't be an obstacle in Benjamin and Arya's inevitable love story. And maybe, just maybe, I could survive. There was no evidence Benjamin had killed Grace, but I wasn't going to take that risk. If dieting, exercising, and leaving quietly would increase my chances, I would do it all. You're incompetent, a voice in my mind whispered. What could someone like you possibly change? I gritted my teeth. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. But I wasn't going to just sit here anymore. My lady, are you okay? The maid asked again, worried. I nodded seriously. I'm going to start managing my diet and exercising, I said. The maid looked stunned. Balanced meals, consistent routines, reasonable exercise. That was the plan. The only problem was, I didn't have clothes for exercising. All I owned were heavy dresses and tight corsets. Do I even have anything suitable? I mumbled. No, my lady, the maid said. Would you like me to call a tailor? Yes. Call the usual one, I said. I wasn't ready to meet new people. Not yet. Not in this body. This body? The thought flickered again. Just how much had the real Grace hated herself? I shook the thought away. It didn't matter. What mattered now was getting healthy. Being strong enough to survive. You can go now, I told the maid. She curtsied and left the room quietly. For the first time since opening my eyes in this world, I was truly alone. No more nurses. No more guards. No more pitying eyes. It had taken me days of lying in bed, suffocating under Grace's depression, to realize this wasn't a hospital. This wasn't Korea. I was inside a novel. Once I had accepted that truth, I knew what I needed. Grace's diary. The key to her memories and my survival. I searched desperately. Under the bed. Inside drawers. Nothing. Frustration gnawed at me. My fingers trembled. It wasn't my fault. The self-hatred lingering in Grace's body was poisoning my mind. But I couldn't give up. Hang in there, Grace, I whispered. Just a little longer. I reached under the bed one more time, and my fingers brushed something small. A ring. The ring in my hand was nothing but a cheap imitation. Not a gem. Just glass. Tacky and uncomfortable. I couldn't understand why it made me feel this way. Why it unsettled me so much. I had no clear memories from before, and everything still felt like a blur. But that ring. Something about it didn't sit right with me. Madam, it's Sally, came a voice from the doorway, pulling me from my thoughts. Sally? The maid. Ah, yes. I remembered her now. The friendly blonde maid who'd been nothing but kind to me. Yes, you can come in, I said, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling from the ring. She stepped in, holding something in her hands. Forgive my intrusion, madam, she said quickly, bowing. I've brought your health supplements. You've been a little scattered lately, and I thought you might have forgotten about them. Health supplements. I nodded absently, trying to focus. Thank you for bringing them over, Sally. But the master? Sally hesitated. glancing at the door. He's been worried. He said you haven't been taking them regularly, and he's concerned. Benjamin, worried? A strange flicker of doubt passed through me. Why is he concerned? I asked, frowning. Is there something in these supplements I should know about? Sally paused, her gaze shifting nervously. They were prescribed for your health, madam, she said softly. For my health? How could I trust that? They could be anything. They might even be poison. Can you deliver a message for me, Sally? I asked, my voice low and deliberate. Tell him I'm causing concern. Sally nodded immediately, her eyes wide. Understood, madam. I watched her leave, feeling a weight settle in my chest. Benjamin's concern. Could it be genuine? Or was he trying to manipulate me from the very start? No. It didn't matter right now. I had bigger problems. Dieting had to come first. I was already starting to feel the pull of the kitchen again. The food was far too delicious. The temptation was overwhelming. Maybe I should ask them to make lighter meals starting tonight. I muttered to myself. Or reduce my portions just a little. The salad I was eating was refreshing, but not enough. I was full, but it felt like something was missing. Still, I knew I had to get used to it. If I wanted to lose weight, I had to be disciplined. Your complexion looks great these days, madam, Sally commented. Really? I asked, surprised. Yes, madam. It seems like drinking a lot of water is actually working for you. Does drinking water really improve your skin? I asked, puzzled. I've heard it works for some, but I don't really know, she shrugged. Sally went on to mention the tailor. Didn't the tailor say they were coming today? She asked. Yes, they're scheduled to arrive before lunch, I replied, thinking ahead. But I don't want them to feel unwelcome. The tailor's arrival was important, especially with rumors circulating among the nobles. I couldn't afford to be seen as rude or incompetent, not now. And if rumors spread that I treated the tailor poorly, it could damage my reputation further. I glanced at the clock. We should prepare for the tailor's arrival, I said, shaking myself out of my thoughts. Make sure everything is ready without any flaws. Yes, madam, Sally answered. As I finished my water, I caught my reflection in the mirror. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how carefully I had to tread. Among the nobles, I was already seen as a figure of ridicule. If someone had deliberately spread malicious rumors about me, I was in deeper trouble than I thought. The doorbell rang, snapping me from my reverie. It was time. Greetings to the Duchess, came the voice of the tailor. I've brought the catalog for the new clothes you requested. I turned to the tailor, flipping through the catalog absent-mindedly. This one is pretty, I thought, stopping on a design. It was beautiful. Then I noticed the tailor's hesitation. Madam, if I may offer a sincere suggestion, they said, that dress doesn't suit you. I raised an eyebrow. Why? Countess Corfin recently had that dress made, the tailor explained. I fear it would invite ridicule if you wore the same dress. I felt a twinge of annoyance. The ornaments were too extravagant? It was too much for me to wear? I narrowed my eyes. Then, what do you recommend? The tailor paused. Because for an exalted noblewoman like you, having freckles is a serious flaw. My blood ran cold. I felt my jaw tighten. How dare they? I looked at Sally, who seemed equally taken aback by the tailor's words. Are you saying I'm not worthy of the same dress as Countess Corfin? I said, my voice low but clear. The tailor stammered, but I cut them off. It's fine, Sally, I said, trying to steady my breath. I turned back to the tailor. All of your suggestions, they're all tacky. The room was silent. All of this, it looks outdated, she murmured, her fingers tracing over the fabrics with a subtle displeasure. It's probably because I've grown accustomed to a different style. Sally, standing nearby, shifted uncomfortably. What exactly do you feel is unfamiliar, madam? Could you explain? It's because I've spent so much time in the annex, isn't it? Grace mused, glancing around the room. This year's designs, they don't really suit my body type at all. But I think I have an idea. Sally, who had become a reliable assistant, nodded. I can help with that, madam. Grace's gaze softened for a moment before she raised an eyebrow. I was simply going to order something comfortable to wear, but you suggest something more extravagant. Why is that? It's because I feel like I may have lost touch with the latest trends from living in the annex, Sally replied earnestly. But I'll do my best to help you find something suitable. Perhaps we need to go to town, Grace suggested, her voice calm but with a hint of determination. Sally, eager to assist, nodded. Of course, madam. Grace thought for a moment before speaking again. I'm starting to think there's more going on here. Grace's mind raced as she pieced together the scenario in her head. She couldn't shake the feeling that someone, was trying to manipulate her. Sally continued, unaware of Grace's inner turmoil. The employees at the annex have been sharing gossip. The tailor's visit has likely already made its rounds by now, and if someone asks about it, well, they'll certainly mention that one dress you liked but was deemed unsuitable for your body. Grace held up her hand, stopping Sally from continuing. No more gossip. We'll handle this ourselves. In that moment, Grace realized she needed to take matters into her own hands. Sally, get me a new tailor. I need new clothes, and I want to make sure they're exactly what I want. Sally hesitated for a second before nodding. Yes, madam. Later, the mood in the room shifted when Grace confronted the tailor, who appeared nervous and unsure of himself. His work had been acceptable, but it didn't meet Grace's standards. You've put effort into tailoring clothes for me, but it's not quite what I'm looking for, Grace said, her tone firm. I won't tolerate mediocrity. The tailor's face flushed, but he bowed respectfully. I'm sorry, madam. I'll make the necessary changes right away. Grace's eyes narrowed as she waved him off. It's too late. I'll find someone else. As the tailor left, Grace turned to Sally. I can't afford to waste any more time with incompetence. Sally nodded, though there was a hint of concern in her eyes. Madam, are you sure this is the right decision? You've always valued quality. I know what I want, Grace replied. Now, we need to focus on getting me the right clothes, and I'll be handling things my way. As the day passed, Grace's resolve solidified. She wasn't going to let anyone stand in her way, not even the whispers or rumors. She had her own plans now. A new surprise arrives. The afternoon brought more unexpected moments when Benjamin arrived with desserts and coffee, which were all the rage these days. Grace raised an eyebrow at the assortment of pastries. Really? You went to such lengths. Benjamin smiled, presenting the treats. I wanted to bring something to brighten your day, madam. Grace took a sip of the coffee, still contemplating her next moves. She hadn't forgotten the past and knew she had to make the best choices for her future. The warmth of the coffee was comforting, but something still felt off. I don't want to indulge too much, Grace said, setting her cup down. I'm on a diet after all. Benjamin's face brightened as he nodded. Of course, madam. I understand. If you prefer, I can bring something else. Grace smiled faintly, appreciating his thoughtfulness, but her mind was elsewhere. No, this is fine. It's just a lot to process. The conversation shifted when Benjamin casually mentioned the fate of the previous tailor. You've probably heard about it. They were exiled for their crimes. It's unfortunate, but justice was served. Grace's smile faded slightly. I see. It's always unsettling to hear about someone's downfall. Benjamin nodded, his expression sympathetic. Indeed. But rest assured, the new tailor will meet all your expectations. As the day wore on, Grace couldn't help but feel like something more was at play. She was determined to remain in control. Walking outside later that evening, she felt a strange sense of clarity. I'll handle this, she whispered to herself. Grace walked down the path, her thoughts clearer than ever before. I have no doubts about the clothes, she reassured herself, her fingers gently adjusting the blouse she wore. Everything is fine. I'll make sure of it. As she passed through the garden, she paused when she saw Benjamin approaching. Madam, we meet again. What a coincidence, he remarked, his usual calm demeanor never wavering. Grace raised an eyebrow. How do I keep running into you every time I go for a walk? Benjamin smiled lightly. Are you out for a walk as well? Yes, the weather has been nice lately, Grace responded, a little annoyed but hiding it behind a polite smile. Benjamin gave a thoughtful glance at the flowers in the garden. Isn't it a bit hard to insist it's just a coincidence when we meet every day? Grace glanced down, considering his words, but quickly shook it off. I'm thinking of planting new saplings in this garden, she said, trying to shift the subject. You like peaches, don't you? Benjamin's eyes lit up at the mention of peaches. How about a peach tree? Grace hesitated, a little lost in thought. Peaches? Oh, are you not really into peaches anymore? Benjamin's sudden shift in attitude was obvious. No, she answered, her voice flat. If you give them to me, I'll eat them. A peach tart would be really nice. Benjamin chuckled. Oh, that's great, but I can't eat those either because I need to lose weight. Grace smirked, feeling a mixture of irritation and amusement. That's unfortunate. Benjamin, seemingly unfazed by the conversation, continued with another question. So, do you have a favorite flower? Grace paused, looking around at the blooms. I like flowers, but I don't know much about them. Since I don't know the names, I can't tell what's what. It's not like I'm going to be a gardener, so it doesn't matter if I don't know. Benjamin nodded slowly, acknowledging her point. I see. I hadn't considered that problem. An awkward silence followed before Grace's assistant, Sally, came rushing up.
Ma'am.
Look at this. She held out a blouse. This blouse. I've had it for a while, but hasn't it gotten a bit loose? Sally's eyes widened when Grace slipped the blouse on. It has indeed gotten looser than before. I guess you've lost some weight, just adjusting your diet. Grace frowned slightly. Like this, about 7 or 8 kilograms. Once I've lost that much, I should ask for a divorce. Sally, taken aback by Grace's words, hesitated. Madam, are you going for a walk today? Yeah, if I skip it once, I might want to skip it all the time, Grace answered casually. As Grace made her way down the familiar path, she couldn't help but feel something was amiss. She noticed she hadn't seen Benjamin today. I don't see Benjamin today. Well, he might not have come out today, or he could have just been busy, Sally suggested, trying to comfort her. Grace nodded absently, but soon stopped in her tracks when something caught her eye, cards with the names of flowers written on them, placed at the base of the trees. What is this? Sally approached, her eyes narrowing in confusion. No way. Could these signs? Were they put up by the gardener?
Yes.
That's right. Sally confirmed. Master ordered us to do it. Grace stared at the signs, a strange feeling creeping up her spine.
Why?
Is it because I said I didn't know about the flowers? Sally blinked. Well,
I don't know, madam.
But this isn't something you could call ordinary kindness. Grace's thoughts churned as she muttered to herself. What kind of delusions am I having? How embarrassing. Sally's voice broke her reverie. Ma'am, are you feeling chilly? Your body is shaking. Grace paused and then sighed. Yeah, I think so. I should go in early today. Inside the house, Grace couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. She hadn't seen Benjamin today, and the odd placement of those flower signs lingered in her mind. Had they been placed there just for her? Sally watched with concern as Grace seemed lost in thought. Ma'am, I'm worried because you've been looking so gaunt lately. Grace didn't respond immediately. Really? You don't have to worry. I guess it's just because I've suddenly started losing weight. Ma'am, did someone say something bad to you? I was wondering if something has happened since you haven't been going to the study lately. The mention of the study struck a chord with Grace. The study. The original Grace used to hole up in there at the slightest provocation. The memories of a woman who had spent so much time with books, with no company but her thoughts. Grace sighed deeply. Ah, that's right. The original me. She was too sick to go outside and spent all her time in the study, much like I did. Do you want me to bring you some warm tea in the study? Sally asked, trying to lighten the mood. Grace considered it for a moment. Yes, of course. As Sally left, Grace's mind wandered back to the study. It had been a long time since she spent time there, and perhaps it was time to confront those memories. She slowly made her way to the study, the feeling of unease growing with each step. The small room had changed, yet not in a way she expected. The windows were spotless, the furnishings well-maintained. The view of the main building was visible through the glass, but something about it didn't feel right. Sally entered with the tea, setting it down beside her. "I've brought you the tea, madam." Grace nodded absently, her eyes scanning the room. "Thank you. Please put it here." "Yes, madam. It's a flower tea that's been trending at the dessert shop lately. They say flower-infused desserts are also in fashion. Should I bring that too?" Grace shook her head. "No, that's all right. Desserts make you gain weight, you know." "Then you can go ahead," Sally replied, smiling. "I'll be here until mealtime." As Sally left, Grace took a sip of the tea, her thoughts still racing. She needed to find her diary, that much was clear. There were 3 places her body remembered: the window side, the sofa, and the desk. She moved around the desk, her heart pounding in her chest. It wasn't there. The diary should have been here. It had to be here. Frustration built up inside her as she checked every corner. Why isn't it here? It should have been here. It can't not be here. Panic set in as she wondered if there was some kind of mechanism hiding the diary. What was going on here? The diary was clearly hidden. Why would it be hidden like this? Grace's hidden secret diary. The entries began after the wedding, and it seemed like she didn't write consistently, more like a notebook than a diary. But it was something at least. I didn't want to know this much. Grace had wanted a child, but she was conflicted. One day, she brought it up to Benjamin. "I'm sorry. I won't mention it again." She was hurt by the cold look in his eyes. "He doesn't want a child with me, yet he decorated the study to my taste. I don't like it." The more I read Grace's memories of Benjamin, the more I realized that, behind his kindness, there was no love. If I'm being honest, like in most reincarnation stories, I once wondered if I could be loved by my husband. But it was just a delusion. The lingering emotions Grace had for Benjamin, and my own as the one who had taken over Grace's body, mixed together in a confusing way. The fact that Benjamin didn't love me left me in despair. "Madam, you've been so down lately. Shall we do that, Sally?" "Madam, I heard there's a village festival coming up soon. How about taking a look?" "It's a masquerade festival. With cloaks and masks. There will be many pretty things to see. If you bring the knights, you'll be safe. I know you're on a diet, but there will be so many delicious foods too. Why not treat yourself to something tasty just for that day?" "Madam, you've barely eaten anything lately. Why are you and Benjamin so kind to me? Should I just let myself die in this kindness? Without either of you suspecting anything, just live comfortably and die." Sally paused, her voice cracking. Sally? Why are you crying?" Sally shook her head, trying to smile through the tears. "Madam, you don't seem well. It hurts me that I can't be of any help." "Oh, that's not true. You're so helpful. I was just feeling conflicted mentally." "I'm sorry, Sally. I've been so lost in thought that I couldn't see what's around me." "Shall we eat? I'll prepare some soup. Would you prefer consommé or potage? Wouldn't consommé take a long time to prepare? The chef makes fresh consommé every day and keeps it ready. It's always available for you, madam. He's been doing that every day just for me." "Sorry." Sally quickly reassured her. "I didn't mean for you to apologize, madam. Really, you apologize so much all the time. Our madam is so kind-hearted. That's why I like you." "Would you like to take a bath while waiting for the soup?" "Oh, sure, please." And so, Grace got out of bed, bathed, and finished her soup. The Save the Madam Committee, among the annex staff, had successfully completed its mission. But as I reread the diary, something seemed off. I decided to try keeping a diary, as someone suggested. The word "suggested" stood out. It sounded like someone had spoken to her about it. Did someone tell her to write this? And then there were strange records that weren't checked after I took over. It implied she had done something regularly. Something I should remember, even after I possessed her. But I didn't remember it at all. It was starting to feel like this was turning from a romance fantasy into a mystery. This is weird. I thought my memories were scattered because I was a transmigrator, but it feels like I'm missing something important. Who's throwing rocks at the Duchess room at this hour? What do I do? We had already made eye contact, and he was smiling, as if he couldn't be ignored. It's okay for a moment. Your Grace? Is something the matter? Madam, you weren't asleep. What would you have done if I were sleeping? You could have sent word through the butler or come into the annex. Well, the rock was so small, the sound was barely audible. If you were awake, you'd hear it, but if not, you'd just keep sleeping. That's just an excuse. It's my fault. I became a bit desperate since you haven't been going on any walks lately, madam. Is that so? Come to think of it, I haven't been walking because I've been feeling down lately. What do you mean you're not allowed into the annex? The annex is currently off-limits to outsiders. Unless you permit it, even I can't enter. Huh. So that means… Are you saying that I barred your Grace from entering? Are you saying that I, of all people, gave such an order to a duke of the nation? As the mystery deepens, Grace's struggle to separate her past from her present grows even more intense. The questions about her memories and the strange events surrounding her life only seem to multiply. The truth is out there, but what is it? I think I'm going crazy. It really seems like it's true. Is Benjamin being considerate of me? Does Grace have something on me? So, anyway, why did you come to find me at such a late hour? I was so happy to see my wife after such a long time that I almost forgot for a moment. A festival will be held soon. If you're feeling well and have the time, would you like to go to the festival with me? The Mask Festival. A village festival where everyone can enjoy themselves comfortably, hiding their identities behind masks. I was stunned. Is he talking about that mask festival from the original novel? Is he really asking me to go with him? No, I'm all right. Okay then. Let's go. Let's go to the festival. That mask festival. Your Majesty, you look happy. My wife has given me her time. I have to set aside 24 hours for my wife. The festival definitely doesn't last 24 hours straight. What are you going to do if my wife suddenly calls for me? Abel Burton, though, decided not to voice his thoughts out loud. I couldn't believe I was going to that mask festival. But did he really go to it with Grace in the original novel? No, in the novel, Grace had clearly rejected him. Benjamin went to the festival alone. He had a puppy-like face, acting all charming and silly. Grace's delusions. Benjamin wanted to give a gift to Grace, who was at home, and the two happily enjoyed their festival date. He also prepared a separate gift for Arya, who helped him choose the gift for Grace. When Arya felt burdened, he pretended it was a token of appreciation from a friend. Yes, I read the submail, leads setup to / an affair, how scandalous. This time, I'm going to the festival with him. Could it be different from the original story? If I go with him, it would be like going with a chubby wife. Only bad rumors will spread among the nobles, and those rumors will reach the royal family. The marriage arranged by the royal family is going well. Is that why I almost got into big trouble? I almost thought Benjamin had started liking me again. But no, he just wants to show his loyalty to the royal family. But then, doesn't it end up with him going crazy over Arya and causing a scene by kidnapping her? My husband, but he's a man driven mad by love. Well, soon he'll be my ex-husband. I've expended a lot of emotional energy today. Let's go to sleep. The next morning, I felt extremely light. Good morning, Sally. You look busy. Is there something going on? Madam, good morning. We are quite busy preparing for the mask festival. It was noisy at night, but I didn't expect it to spread so quickly. What do you think about this cloak to wear to the festival? Well, it looks a bit thick. Won't it be hot? It's okay. This cloak is made from the fur of a magical beast called Letten. It has the property of absorbing heat. It keeps you cool during the day and blocks the chilly air at night. What a wonderful effect. That's really convenient. Indeed, magical beasts have many fascinating properties. Wait a minute. Letton? I definitely seen it in the original novel. A cloak with a green brooch. Is it not to your taste? No, that's not it. But this is the gift Benjamin gave to Arya. After Grace's death, when Benjamin kidnaps Arya, he puts this cloak on her and smiles, saying it suits her very well. Although that smile was warm, Arya thought it was frightening. Why is the cloak that Arya should wear here? Is it okay for me to wear it? Of course. We procured the leather all for you, my lady. Did everyone really procure the leather? Isn't this something you bought from a shop?
Oops.
Be by coincidence. Everyone just happened to obtain the leather. Really? UK.
Yes.
By coincidence. Why are the windows covered? Something seems suspicious. Did His Majesty ask you to say it was obtained by chance? If you can't say anything here, it's practically a confirmation, Sally. Could you step aside for a moment?
What?
WH, where are you going? The window. Madam, is this place really out of sight from the mistress? I'm not sure. Let's just try to avoid the Lord's gaze for now. This expedition was ridiculously difficult, so they should at least let us rest. Sally looked uncertain, her eyes glancing around. Was it truly just a coincidence that you found it? Well, it's a little complicated, she stammered, her voice lowering. The festival is long, and there are so many people, so maybe it was fate? Her words felt tangled, but she quickly tried to clarify. A few months ago, I saw it, and I finally found it. I caught it.
What do you mean by that?
Sally glanced at the other person, and after a brief silence, she explained. They say Retton isn't in its active season now. They've sent out a scout team to hunt, and since it's only spotted once a year, they considered it a lucky success, especially after only a few months of preparation. All right, enough. We're here. You can stop talking now, the other person interrupted, cutting off her words. The atmosphere shifted, feeling a bit awkward. The other person seemed unsure. Should I wear this? Is it meant for me, or was it meant for Arya and rejected? Sally sighed. I'll just wear it. It seems fine. Madam, that's a brilliant idea. And for the knights who helped prepare this, I'd like to give them a gift. What would be fitting? They smiled. I think they'd love to see you in that cloak, and it might even lead to a date with the master. Right now. Of course. The master is waiting. Sally was hurried into the dressing room, where she had little time to choose. The clothes fit a little loosely. It's a bit loose, but I don't have time today. I'll wear it for now and adjust it later. With a quick nod, they bid her farewell. Please take care and have a safe trip. As Sally stepped out, she found Benjamin waiting for her. Am I late? She asked. Not at all. I was just early. You're never late, Benjamin assured her with a calm smile. I don't feel excited anymore, she confessed, her thoughts lingering on the cloak that had originally been meant for Arya. The mask festival, once a place of excitement for others, now felt like an obligation. Benjamin noticed the tension. The carriage stands out, so let's leave through the back door. And use different titles outside, he suggested. You can call me Benny. Benny, she echoed with surprise. That's a bit daunting. Then how about just my lady? All right, Benny, she replied, though the name still felt odd to her. As they walked, Benjamin asked, This is your first festival in the capital, right? Sally nodded. I'm more of an indoor person. I've never really enjoyed festivals, even back in my hometown. Benjamin seemed to understand. The Mask Festival is hosted by the temple. In your territory, there's no large temple, so I imagine it's hard to celebrate there. No offense taken, she responded quickly. Benjamin nodded before explaining. The festival's origins come from a legend where a demon would hide among the crowds and steal the face of someone they found attractive. Sally smiled, recognizing the tale. I remember that one. My father used to tell it to my sister and me when we were little. Benjamin's expression softened. It sounds like you and your sister had a close relationship. Sally paused, feeling a pang of emotion. I suppose so. I don't really share much about my family, but when I do, it's always something positive. Benjamin's voice dropped slightly. Is there anyone else you remember besides Grace? Sally grew quiet, lost in thought. Nothing clear, just fragments. Benjamin quickly changed the subject. I think it would be more appropriate if I escort you from here. I suppose holding hands might be better than crossing arms, right? Sally looked at him, a little caught off guard. It feels strange, but all right. She looked at the bustling festival. You've been limiting your meals lately. You should enjoy something delicious today, at least. Sally hesitated, biting her lip. I'll think about it. Benjamin went off to buy some food, leaving her to wait. I'll be back soon, he said. As she stood alone, Sally's gaze wandered. A group of children caught her attention, selling something she couldn't quite make out. What are you selling? She asked, approaching. One of the children shyly held up a bar of soap. Soap? Want to buy some? Sally eyed it carefully. The soap was plain, nothing special about the shape, color, or scent. Is that all? She asked, curious. Are you their guardian? The child shook their head. No, the teacher is over there. Sally's heart sank. Are they orphans? She couldn't help but wonder about the conditions the children were in. Were they being exploited? She wanted to say something, but the crowd was overwhelming. Sorry, kids, she muttered before noticing one of the children was calling to her. Are you a customer? Sally turned back, her mind racing with questions about the children and their situation. Are you the manager of the orphanage? No, I'm just a teacher, not the manager. The conversation took a serious turn. Is someone embezzling the donations here? The orphanage's director is the only one who could be in a position to do that, the teacher replied, clearly uncomfortable. Sally, feeling concerned, asked, Is there anything I can do to help? Should I just buy all the soap? No, that's not a real solution. She thought for a moment. Maybe I could sponsor them as the Duchess? But then she remembered her upcoming divorce and sighed, thinking, is there another way for them to become self-sufficient? Her mind wandered. Why did she feel so strongly about helping them? Was it her nature to meddle in others' affairs, just like Grace used to? What's your name? She asked the teacher. I'm Cleta Dunn, the teacher responded. Sally gave a warm smile. Well, Cleta, if it's all right with you, I'd like to help. Let's try following my instincts and see where it leads. Cleta hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Would you be willing to help sell all the soap? Sally agreed, though part of her still wondered if Cleta had other motives. I've brought soap-making tools and packaging materials, she explained, and some candy for the kids to enjoy. Sally's husband, Benjamin, seemed out of place but nodded as he began to look after the children. Let's just focus on making the soap safely, Cleta suggested, pulling out pre-portioned herbs and pressed flowers. I've heard floating flowers in tea are in trend, Cleta added, handing Sally a variety of herbs. Let's try adding them to the soap. Sally was impressed. You really have a talent for this. Oh, it's just a hobby, Cleta replied, her modesty clear. Soon, they were all making soap together, and Sally marveled at the quality. This looks luxurious. You could sell it for 450 zen per bar. Cleta's eyes twinkled. Let's sell it for 900 zen. 900 zen? Isn't that too much? Sally protested. It's a great price, Cleta insisted confidently. Trust me, it will all sell out. By the way, Cleta added, do you happen to have 2 large bowls? Sally caught a pleasant scent in the air, a fresh fragrance that seemed to contrast the heaviness of the day. Is that coming from the soap bubbles? She asked. The soap shimmered in the light, and the kids were entranced. This is so pretty, one of them exclaimed. Curious passers-by soon joined them. What are you selling? A woman asked. Soap. Sally replied, smiling brightly. We made it for the festival. Cleta chimed in. In my hometown, there's a legend that says if you use pressed flower soap bought during the festival, your wish will come true. Sally added, it's a tradition. If you use up the soap, your wish will definitely come true. The woman's eyes sparkled. That sounds romantic. Maybe I should buy one. All right then, I'll take one, another person said eagerly. By the time the day ended, Sally felt a sense of accomplishment. We sold all the soap. I'm really proud of us. But then, a strange feeling swept over her. She suddenly felt uneasy, her chest tightening. What's happening to me? She thought, feeling queasy. It was as though the good mood she had earlier had vanished, leaving her with a sense of emptiness. She reached up to adjust her mask and realized it had slipped. Wait, what's going on? She murmured, the strange sensation growing stronger. As she stumbled slightly, she heard a loud crash nearby. What was that? She wondered aloud, just as a voice shouted, "Watch where you're going." She turned, only to find a large figure stumbling toward her, drunk and apologetic. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you. But the apology didn't reach her. Sally felt a rising frustration, her chest still tight. Suddenly, a voice broke through her irritation. Don't be so rude. It was Benjamin, his voice surprisingly sharp. Sally turned to him, trying to read his expression, but all she could feel was the heavy, suffocating tension of the moment.